right, so hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are talking about Kaiju number 8. Now, yes, we did not get a chapter this week, but I think it's still viable to talk about it this week because I want to mention some things that I haven't been able to fit anywhere else in my other videos. Plus, it's good to let people know that, hey, Kaiju number 8 is going to continue, but the chapters are now going to be 3 times a month, and then the 4th week is going to be a break. Now, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's any other series that have done this. I know mangaka take hiatuses and kind of breaks whenever they can, depending on how popular the series is and how much power, I guess, is afforded to each mangaka. But this is kind of interesting, and I wonder if it means that the magazine is putting a lot of stock into this series, or it's the fact that it's online. When I mean stock into the series, I mean like they're aware that it's very popular, so they're giving the mangaka, who I think is a woman, if I remember correctly, they're giving her more leeway to kind of allow her to stay happy and be in an environment that really helps her make really good manga. Or if it's just like, hey, it's an online thing. We don't really lose that much money if it doesn't happen every week. So it's fine, you know. I'm not really sure. If anyone does know, please let me know. Or if you have theories, we can discuss it as well. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how the manga industry works on a week-by-week basis. So it's kind of interesting to kind of think about that. The other thing is, if we're going to have less chapters a month, does that mean each chapter is going to have more pages? You know how a bi-weekly or a monthly ends up having like 50 pages, whereas a weekly one only has around 20, 25-ish seems to be the highest amount. So it's interesting. I would really hope that we do get more pages per chapter, but it's kind of up in the air. We don't really know. Oh, and I don't really have any proper or knowledge, connections or anything with the manga industry, so I'm just kind of spitballing here and hoping something makes sense. And it's like somewhat logical, like my conclusions are not just like, oh yeah, this is it or whatever, but it's not exactly correct. I don't know any way to verify it. So anyway, yeah, that was it for that part. Now, I do want to talk about other random stuff. I'm curious about where the mangaka got their inspiration from and how they kind of got around to it. So I know that they interned or were apprentices to another mangaka who was also the teacher slash boss slash whatever connection you want to call it to the guy that wrote Black Clover. Can't remember his name. Tabata or something, I think. So I know them two are connected. And if I remember correctly, Horikoshi is friends with the guy that made Black Clover. Horikoshi is the mangaka that made My Hero Academia. So maybe they're friendly, all three of them. I'm not really sure, but this really comes down to the fact that when I look at Kaiju number 8, I think the biggest inspiration for it is My Hero Academia. And I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure where the mangaka's ages end up being, like if mangaka for Kaiju number 8 is older than Horikoshi or something, but Horikoshi's work, My Hero Academia, has been going on for 6 years at this point. So it makes sense that a lot of mangaka that are making new stories are going to be kind of influenced slash inspired by Horikoshi's work. I mean, we've seen it where Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach kind of started the trend in the early 2000s, and a lot of the series that follow are based kind of similarly to those, and like the main characters are kind of similar in the same way that Naruto is very similar to Goku, Luffy is very similar to Goku. So it kind of makes sense that each kind of grouping of mangaka generations kind of takes inspiration from the previous one. So I wonder, but it's because the similarities, once you start looking for them, are very, very big. Like, just thinking about the formats, we get the introduction set up after a battle with a kaiju, which is the same thing as My Hero Academia. Mount Lady starts the series by, well, it's not Mount Lady, but it's like a bunch of heroes fighting that giant dude with like the shark head. And then we get the introduction to our main character. We realize that he's a loser, and then there's like another thing that happens, like another fight kind of thing, and then he gets a power, and then he goes to the test. That's basically the same thing as the first volume of My Hero Academia. I think it's like the first 5 chapters are basically not point for point, but very, very similar. Plus, we also have to look at Kafka's Kaiju design. If you look at him in his Kaiju form, suit, armor thing, and you look at All Might, like, you know, the one where All Might's standing like this. I'll put a picture of what I'm talking about here, right on this side. I'll put All Might right here, and I'll put Kafka over here so you guys can see them side by side. So really easily, you can see that the overall body shape is very, very similar. It's almost exactly the same. And yes, I can see how that can be chalked up to just like, oh, well, those are just the proportions for hero characters. Yeah, that's true, but you would still see some variation, and it would be kind of different, but they have like the same pectorals, the same ab like section, like their abdominals, it's like 8 of them, and then they're all the same shape, and the way their waist tapers and their legs and stuff is all the same. Which again, I understand that it can be chalked up to they use the same model, or they're using the same proportion study, I guess. But the similarities don't end there. Kafka and All Might both have horns. Kafka's are like literal horns, but you know, All Might has that fancy like V-shape bits of hair. And then All Might has a giant smile, and Kafka has a giant set of teeth at the front. Obviously, it's not the same as a smile, but it's very clear that it's very similar. And the point is, hey, he has a giant mouth guard that has teeth. And if you remember correctly, if I remember correctly, when Deku showed off his original hero suit, they did the same thing. They were like, oh, he has bunny ears, the same as, you know, All Might's antenna. He has a mouth guard that looks like a smile. You know, it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, oh, this is very clearly inspired. The other thing that you notice is that Kafka has these lines of like energy, I guess, where he kind of like glows. And he has very specific ones that are like here for his collarbone that look almost the same as the white stripes in All Might's suit. So it's kind of interesting, right? And it's kind of different. Plus, they also have very similar personalities. They're both bumbling, hyper strong, kind of well-intentioned, good-natured people. And it's kind of like, when you look at it, it feels very, very similar. And this comes from a post on Reddit, because the Kaiju number 8 subreddit is very cool. You guys should check it out. The people there are very interesting. And I don't remember what the post was, but I said, you know, in Kafka looks very similar to All Might. And then someone responded like, are you crazy? There's no way. And then I, you know, broke it down. And I was surprised by how similar they are once I started looking at it properly. So it's kind of interesting, right? Now, I want to talk about theories. That was like the one thing I noticed that I really wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about anywhere else. Now, the one thing theories I want to talk about are, so I mentioned the fact that, you know, Kikoru and Kafka were probably going to have some sort of romantic relationship, or some relationship that had an undertone of romance. And I want to take that back, because I forgot that Kafka is 32 and Kikoru is 16. That's kind of concerning, and I would really hope that they don't do that. I mean, it's fiction, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really care, but it's like, I don't want it to occur. I don't want something so simple to kind of tarnish the series for people, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, it's not very important, and it doesn't really matter. You should be able to distinguish between fiction and reality, but a lot of people get really obsessed with it, and if they see something that they don't like, even though they love the series, they can't overcome it. And so I would really prefer, or hope, that the mangaka doesn't do the romantic subplot between Kikoru and Kafka, so that we don't get the image of the manga tarnished a bit. I mean, that might not really happen. That might not be the case, but with the setup that was going, I kind of felt that there would be. At least Kikoru might have an obsession / infatuation with Kafka because she has daddy issues. He saved her, protected her, and praised her, and she thinks he's really strong, so there might be some sort of like weird, like, oh, he's so amazing, I should, whatever. As long as Kafka does not, reciprocate, it should be good. I would actually be happy if they kind of do a brother-sister relationship and Kafka and her kind of develop a, what's it called? Like she helps him be a better kaiju hunter, but he helps her be a better person kind of thing. I would really hope that something like that happens, and I am really excited to see where it goes. Now, the other thing is, what the heck is up with Mina Ashiro's backstory? We have no clue what any of her things are or what anything behind her is besides the fact that she was friends with Kafka. Now, she seems to be a very, sad, lonely, kind of not happy individual. And I assume that that's because the one person she cared about, looked up to, / whatever in Kafka disappointed her. And now she's used to disappointment and she's doing her best to be the best because that was her wish, but it's not because she really cares anymore. And now with Kafka doing the test and maybe developing and becoming a Japan Defense Force member, we'll see her slowly become more caring and kind of meaningful, but I'm not sure. I don't really know. I'm excited to see where that goes. And then the last thing is, what the heck is up with the Hammerhead Kaiju? Why did he disappear randomly out of nowhere last chapter? So that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys have a nice day and you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you guys think. Some theories, some ideas, anything you guys have, please share it with me in the comments. If you liked, please like and subscribe. And like I mentioned, comment down below. And see you guys later.